Welcome, global procurement managers, supply chain directors, and sourcing strategists. If you're responsible for securing world-class industrial equipment and building a highly resilient supply chain, you are in the exact right place. In this explainer, we're going to completely unpack the 2026 industrial sourcing landscape. We'll be looking specifically at the top 8 industrial suppliers in China from your perspective, breaking down their core competencies and detailing exactly how you should integrate them into your global operations. To understand exactly where we are today, we first have to look at how drastically sourcing has shifted. The old model relied on simple factory finding for consumer goods. It was all about chasing the cheapest labor and standard off-the-shelf products. But the 2026 reality, it's a completely different beast. Today, sourcing high-end industrial equipment demands a workflow-first approach. You aren't just buying a machine anymore. You're securing an industrial Internet of Things, or IIoT, integrated partnership that strictly adheres to modern global green manufacturing standards. All right, let's dive into this roadmap. We'll be covering the macro landscape shift, heavy machinery leaders, the smart manufacturing core, high-end CNC innovators, and then wrapping up with supply chain workflow and industrial clusters. Kicking things off with Section 1, the 2026 New Industrial Sourcing Landscape, focusing on the macro shift. Before we look at the specific companies, we absolutely need to adjust our fundamental sourcing mindset. The biggest takeaway here is that the Made in China 2025 initiative has now reached full maturity. The 8 entities we're about to discuss, they're not just budget alternatives anymore. These are true Tier 1 industrial giants. They're competing head-to-head with their German, Japanese, and American counterparts on technological integration, expert reliability, and pure manufacturing quality. They are actively defining the global market right now. Moving on to Section 2, heavy machinery and infrastructure giants. Let's look at the heavy machinery leaders. It's actually fascinating how distinctly these 3 titans divide up the heavy machinery sector. First, you've got SANY, the absolute global market leader, dominating in excavators and concrete machinery. They're your go-to for massive global bulk buying and infrastructure contracts. Next is XCMG, consistently ranking in the top 3 globally, and they absolutely rule specialized lifting solutions and mining machinery. And finally, Zoomlion. They compete closely with SANY, but they've carved out a massive niche in tower cranes and high-end smart agricultural machinery. To really wrap your head around the technological leap we're talking about here, just look at SANY. They haven't just scaled up, they've pivoted entirely to what they call lighthouse factories. We're talking fully automated production lines delivering world-class heavy machinery with terrifying precision and speed. It's a prime example of how this entire sector has rapidly evolved from sheer muscle to high-tech manufacturing. But hey, as a procurement manager, you need to understand the strategic limitations, right? Sourcing at this scale comes with high initial capital expenditure. You also have to navigate highly complex logistics for oversized shipping, which requires specialized customs handling, and most importantly, it absolutely demands localized maintenance contracts to keep these massive assets running smoothly. All right, Section 3, Smart Manufacturing and Automation Core. Shifting our focus now from the heavy steel of the construction site to the precise brains of the modern factory floor, let's compare the 2 titans of smart manufacturing. On one hand, you have Inovance, dominating the core of industrial automation with variable frequency drives, servo motors, and PLCs. They are perfect for OEM manufacturers looking to upgrade factory efficiency. On the other hand, you have Istune, the top domestic brand for multi-axis industrial robots and motion control. They're an absolute must if you're bulk buying to automate assembly lines. The industry nicknames these guys have earned speak volumes. Inovance is frequently called the Siemens of China, highlighting their sheer dominance in controllers and drives. Meanwhile, Aston isn't just playing local. They are aggressively rivaling the global Big Four in robotics. That's Fanuc, ABB, KUKA, and Yaskawa. These are true global leaders. Now, you're going to hear companies like Inovance referred to as import replacement giants. What this means for you as an OEM manufacturer is that integrating these specific components can drastically upgrade your factory's efficiency, while simultaneously replacing your reliance on older, much more expensive foreign technology. It's literally a dual win for performance and cost. Next up is Section 4, High-End CNC and Precision Machining. Here we have 3 highly specialized giants. First is Haitan, mastering plastic injection molding for plastics and automotive components. Second is Huazhong CNC, which serves as the technical brain for high-end machine tools, providing advanced CNC controllers and industrial software for precision engineering. And finally, SMTCL, one of the world's largest machine tool builders, known for traditional lathes and their modernized intelligent CNC systems. I really want to zero in on Haitian for a second here. They are recognized globally as the undisputed leader in injection molding and the world's largest producer. Their Mars and Jupiter series are practically ubiquitous. So if your global supply chain involves plastics, consumer electronics, automotive parts, or packaging, Haitian is just an unavoidable, essential global titan you have to factor into your strategy.
Pivoting now to Section 5, Supply Chain Integration and Workflow.
Okay, shifting from the who to the how, here is your realistic 2026 onboarding process. Step 1, you generally work through a regional authorized dealer rather than direct factory orders to ensure local support. Step 2, your RFQs must be highly technical, including detailed schematics. Step 3, you have got to contract for on-site commissioning where their engineers set up your machines. And Step 4, always negotiate a critical spares kit up front to prevent expensive downtime. Look, I absolutely cannot stress this strategic contrast enough. Procuring from these giants is nothing like buying standard components on Alibaba. Standard off-the-shelf ordering simply doesn't work here. You are entering into long-term service agreements. You're managing complex dealer networks and utilizing highly customized technical RFQs. You're buying into an entire ecosystem, not just grabbing a product off a digital shelf. And finally, Section 6, Industrial Clusters and Global Service. To intelligently optimize your sourcing resilience, you really must understand geographic industrial ecosystems. The crucial point here is knowing where these giants anchor massive clusters. You've got the Changsha cluster for construction machinery with Sanyi and Zoomlion. Xuzhou is the hub for lifting equipment with XCMG. Nanjing and Suzhou form the heart of robotics with Estenyu and Innovance. And Shenyang and Dalian anchor traditional heavy industry with SMTCL. Why does this matter to you? Because targeting smaller vendors located within these specific proximity zones yields immediate access to much better component quality and a highly skilled labor pool. Now, let's address the massive elephant in the room. It is the single biggest pain point for global procurement, dealing with expensive downtime and international maintenance bottlenecks. So how do you actually handle the maintenance of this heavy machinery when it's sitting halfway across the world? Well, this is where the 2026 solution really shines: 5G IoT remote diagnostics. Most Tier 1 suppliers now have physical service centers in over 100 countries. But far more importantly, their engineers in China can troubleshoot your machinery anywhere in the world in real time via embedded 5G modules installed directly on the equipment itself. The days of waiting 3 weeks for a technician to fly out are officially over. And hey, for those of you worried about regulatory risks, don't be. These suppliers now meet the absolute strictest global green compliance standards. By 2026, they are implementing comprehensive carbon tracking for their products. Companies like Sanyi and Zoomlion are actively offering electric versions of their excavators and cranes, ensuring you seamlessly meet even the toughest EU and North American environmental regulations. So, we've covered the macro shift, the top 8 giants across heavy machinery, smart automation, and precision CNC, and exactly how to adjust your procurement workflow to integrate them. So I'll leave you with this question. Is mastering this 2026 industrial ecosystem your next major supply chain competitive advantage? Take this framework, refine your next complex RFQ, and go build a world-class, highly resilient supply chain. Thank you for joining me on this explainer.